What's up, you guys? So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get the best lease for the lowest cost. I see so many people out there that are leasing cars for way more than they should be. It's probably because the car dealerships are like really good at making it seem like you're getting a good deal when in fact you're actually getting a shit deal. So yeah, I see people paying like $500 for a Honda Accord, like $400 for a Camry. Those are good cars, but for those price points, you can very easily lease Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, all those, more luxury brand name cars. So first I'm going to go through some terms that are very important. You should definitely get to know these terms before you start to lease a car, before you get into the leasing process. It's going to help you make an informed decision later on. So the first term that we have is the MSRP, and this is just the manufacturer's suggested retail price. It's pretty much just what it sounds like. It's the cost of the car. It's what the manufacturer thinks the car is worth. We're not going to be paying that much because if you pay MSRP for a car, then you're not getting a deal. That leads us to the next term, which is the selling price or the capitalized cost. This is the cost of the car that you are going to be ending up paying. This is the cost after you negotiate with the dealership, and we basically want to get this cost as low as possible. The difference between your selling price and the MSRP is going to be your negotiated discount, and we want that as big as possible because that is what is going to lower our monthly payments the most. So our next term is residual. This is always expressed as a percentage. So let's say you have a $50,000 car. That's the MSRP. What leasing companies will do is that they will set a residual for a specified amount of time. Let's say in this case, this car leasing company thinks that this $50,000 car is going to be worth $30,000 in 2 years. So that's going to represent a residual of 60%. Because if you take 50,000 and you multiply it by 60%, you get 30K. So this company thinks that the car after 2 years will be worth $30,000. This $20,000 difference is your depreciation, and that's what pretty much the biggest part of the lease cost is. So the residuals for different cars, different models varies greatly. Some cars, they retain their value a lot better than others. For example, I hear Jeeps have very high residuals. They are worth not that much less than what they are worth new. Other cars, such as lots of luxury cars, they depreciate really fast, so they're going to have smaller residuals, or residuals that make their depreciation a lot bigger. And lastly, we have money factor. So money factor is an obscure way of representing the interest rate of a car. They love to make these numbers as confusing as possible because they don't want you to know how much you are paying to borrow that money. It's actually quite simple though. So money factors are always represented in like a decimal point. So let's say you have 0.0019 money factor. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this number and you're going to multiply it by 2,400, and whatever you get from that is going to be your interest rate. So in this case, our money factor of 0.0019 is equal to 4.56%. We want this number to be low because that's what we're paying in interest. The higher that is, the more we are paying and the crappier your lease payment is going to be. So when you lease a car, you're going to be faced with a couple decisions. One of them is how long do you want to lease the car for? So in the US, I think the current popular lengths of leases are typically 24 months, 36 months, 39 months, and sometimes 42 months. You also get to choose how many miles you want to drive per year. So that can range from 5K miles per year to 7.5K, 10K, 12K, 15K, and I've even seen some 20K mile leases. The less you drive, the less you're going to need because that's going to affect your residual value. The more miles you put on the car, it's going to lower your residual and make the lease more expensive. Now, ultimately, you're going to decide what car you end up leasing, but there are definitely some better car brands to lease than others. Some cars lease really well, and some cars lease really badly. A few cars that have been leasing really well recently are Jaguars, BMW, Mercedes loaners / demos. Not new cars, those don't lease that well, but if you're able to find these like loaners or demos. Those are the cars that the dealerships have used to show potential clients the car, and also as service demos for when people bring their cars in to get serviced, they will lend them these cars. They always have massive discounts on these, so you're able to get a very low selling price, but pretty much the same residual, and that is going to give you a really good lease price. Volvo has been doing many manufacturer discounts, so they've been very generous in that sense. I've seen $60,000 Volvos leased recently for as low as $300 a month, zero down. So really insane deals out there for you. Alfa Romeo has also been running lots of promotions, so you can get one of their Giulias or Stelvios. Really nice cars. I believe the Giulia won the Motor Trend Car of the Year from 2018, so it's actually a really well-received car. They've been doing really aggressive lease deals on those, so if you want an Alfa Romeo, this is the time to get one. Now, some of the brands that aren't as attractive to lease include Audi, Tesla, Mercedes and BMW's new cars, as well as Land Rover, Range Rover. There are lots of car brands that fall kind of in between, and it really depends on the season that you're looking, the year, the current promotions that are going on. So I would just do a quick internet search and see if there are any really special deals going on. So now that you know that, you're going to want to pick a car, and if you want the best deal possible, go with one of those brands that I mentioned earlier that leases well. You're going to have a much easier time getting a good payment on that car. And the most important thing is negotiating the selling price of the car. We want our MSRP minus the selling price to be as big as possible, because that's our discount. Let's say we have a car that's worth $50,000 and this represents the whole cost, right? Let's say we want to get our selling price to $40,000. So that's going to represent a difference of $10,000, which is your negotiated discount. It's pretty good. Depends on the car brand, if it's a loan or a demo, but I'd say that's a very reasonable discount to get a great lease. And now let's say the residual is $30K. So after 2 years, the car value is going to be $30K, down from our original $50K MSRP. This right here is basically the lease cost for those 2 years. You're going to be paying the difference between your selling price and the residual value at the end of those 2 years. So in this case, it's going to cost us $10,000 over 2 years to own a $50,000 car. That's pretty good. That's why it's so important to get this number, the selling price, as close to the residual as possible. So you're gonna have your salesperson run the numbers for you. I'd suggest asking to see the numbers for 24 months, 36 months. Sometimes it might be better to get 24-month lease. Sometimes it's better to get a 36-month lease. Depends on the discount that you're able to receive and the residual values that they have set. And when they do run the numbers, I suggest asking them to run the numbers as a zero due at signing payment. So basically what that means is that on the first day when you go into the dealership and get your new car, you're paying $0 for the first month. Everything else, the tax, title, license, acquisition, all that is rolled, including the first month, that's all rolled into the remaining payments for the lease. So that really helps you compare the costs from different dealerships. Most dealerships will quote prices at $0 down, but that does not mean that you're going to pay $0 when you walk out of the dealership. You're still going to have all those tax, title, license fees, and that's going to be between $1,500 to $2,000 depending on the value of the car and the state that you're in. It could even be higher if you're paying the taxes up front. So yeah, get zero due at signing quotes. Then you can compare the quotes from different dealerships and see which one has the lowest payment. And that's probably what you're going to choose. So once you do find a car, I do recommend putting $0 down instead of a large down payment. If you drive off the lot and crash your car, you're going to lose that down payment that you put down. So basically just put that payment off for later, roll it into your other monthly payments, and it's going to be a lot better financially, I think. If this all seems a little bit complicated, one thing I do recommend is finding an auto broker, a leasing broker. These are people that have existing relationships with car dealerships in your area, and they're able to negotiate on your behalf and find you the best lease deals. If I didn't spend hundreds of hours looking at lease deals and researching, that's probably what I would do. They do charge $200 to $400 depending on the broker, but it's definitely worth it because they can always get you the best deal. So wrapping up this video, I just want it to be really clear that you can get a really nice high-end car for not that much money. If you follow these tips, use the information that I've provided you here, and use it for your benefit when you do go to the dealership and try to find the best deal possible. I do recommend, instead of going to the dealership and working on the numbers, doing everything by email. Email is a lot more clear cut. You have numbers written down for you. You can use those numbers later on if they do try and scam you or increase the numbers. It makes it easier to compare different dealerships. You don't need to drive all around, and basically once you come to an agreed price, you can just bring that email to the dealership, talk to that salesperson, and hopefully they should be able to honor that price. So later on, I will be doing a tour of my $53,000 BMW that I leased for $365 a month, including tax. If you want to stay tuned for that, just hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.